Welcome back to another episode of Cobra Kai Companion, and I am Peter. And you guys, this is a very special interview. A pleasure to have him. Joining me from season 5 of Cobra Kai is Akihiro Kitamura. So,
All right, you said
yeah,
my name right, man. All right,
okay,
all right. If
perfect,
you
perfect.
mess
All
up,
right,
I'm gonna be like you.
or you're gonna be again.
Don't miss my honor. Respect.
That's right. That's right. Well, let me just start off with this. It's been a couple months
Mhm,
since Cobra Kai season 5 has come out, and you were a very big secret and surprise character. So
mhm.
we'll get into that, but just first off, what has been the reception like for you being on Cobra Kai?
It's man, I gotta be honest. It's overwhelming, because it's like I knew Cobra Kai was huge, but I didn't expect the reaction from like that many people watches it, and one like the moment the season 5 get released on Netflix, I get like a text from like people who I haven't talked to for like 10 years, 15 years. Hey, I just watched it in Cobra Kai. Hey, great job, and the internet, like, all those Cobra Kai fans, they just giving me so much like love, and like I felt so welcomed by the fans, which was super cool. I didn't really expect it. So I was just like every time I go to like Twitter, people saying, "Hey man, your young Sato is legit." Like, yo man, you did a great job. You brought back the life of Sato. Like all those compliments. I was like, oh man, like I actually cried, man. Like when I was, I think John, as the creator of Cobra Kai, one of the showrunner, he gave me compliment on the Twitter, and all those fans start to like write to me like all those nice things. I was like, oh my god, it was raining in Los Angeles that time. He was saying, that John was like, hey man, like, don't you think that Akihiro Kitamura, he did like, he nailed Sato, like, and I was like, all those nice things. I'm like, yo man, like I can't stop crying. I'm like, oh my god, like, oh, like I felt like I was glad I was acting. I was
Yeah.
glad I do what I do. Like this is one of the things that I'm glad. I didn't quit. Doing what I do.
Yeah, that must feel pretty rewarding, right? Like
Rewarding. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you're working. Everybody just loved it. Um, yeah, John is great, and he's very active on Twitter. So that's when we're like, oh, young Sato has a Twitter account. Good, we can follow him too.
Yeah.
Um,
No, he's
you
awesome, man. He's like
yeah,
he gave me like some nice. Yeah, he's cool. I like him.
yeah, I do too. You mentioned you got all these text messages, but also your kid next door neighbor also
Oh
discovered
yeah.
that you were an actor, right? Can you share that story?
Yeah, this Iranian kid. Actually, he's from Iran, right? And I became like his kind of a mentor, because I saw he was growing up in my neighborhood. Since he was little, and now he's like a big high school kid. He's bigger than me, and I didn't know. We talk. Sometimes his family member passed away. I'm like, man, I talk about life and death, and I just an older guy. He's like, he gets stressed out by his parents. I tell him, hey man, yeah, no, yeah, you just do what you want to do. Do what you like to do. Hey, listen to your parents, but also but all those things. I was like a big brother. But I never tell people that I'm actor in my where I live, because when once you tell your neighbor you're an actor, they start asking questions, which I get annoyed. Like, hey, don't ask questions.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
private.
yeah, private. I want to keep it private. But when I was walking my dog the other day, and he's like, man, he came up to me. He's a high school kid. He just came up to me. He's like, hey, may I ask you a question? Are you in this Netflix show called Cobra Kai? I'm like, what? You recognize me? What? And that kind of made me so happy, because obviously I didn't tell him I'm actor, and also young Sato is very different from who I am actually. So for him to recognize what I did on TV show, I was like, oh, it kind of made me happy because he we had a good relationship. This kid, he I guess he knew about me. He could get the sense of character from watching the show, and he was so happy. He was like, "Oh my god!" Like he got like crazy, right? Like, "Wow, you are in Cobra Kai!" And he started asking me all the questions. He's like, "Yo, man, like I wish," and I told him, "Hey, man, I wish I'm gonna be in season 6." And he's like, "Oh my god, did you just tell you? Did you just tell me you were gonna be in season 6?" I'm like, "No, I haven't. No, man, don't get too excited. I don't know anything about it." So, but it was kind of nice to see somebody I know for a long time getting that excited. So I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we would all love a spinoff, to learn more about the relationship between Sato and Chosen. Why is Chosen the way he is in Karate Kid Part Two, right? So
Yeah,
we see a glimpse of that early on. Let's learn a little bit more about you. You were born in Japan.
yeah.
When did you come to the U.S.?
I came here when I was 18. I started to go to college. I had to convince. I went to a school, very strict high school, where like you had to go into like a Japanese university and like get into the good, pass the, because in Japan or in Korea too, I think, to be successful, you have to go to like nice college, and then 4 years. And after 4 years, you have to it's like another thing. You have to apply for the good company, and then your kind of life is set. So I could see my life going that way. I was a good student, man. I'm an intelligent guy. I'm like, yo, man, this is I can speak English, no problem. I was getting good grade, but at the same time, I did not I couldn't see myself as a Japanese salaryman. Who goes to like the train every day, every morning. I just couldn't see it because I loved movies. I loved American movies, Hollywood movies. I was watching Speed. When I was a high school kid, the Speed came out with Sandra Bullock and
Keanu
Keanu
Reeves.
Reeves. I fell in love with Sandra Bullock, man. I was like, yo, man, this lady, I wanna marry Sandra Bullock, you know. So I went to I think I was like a 16, 17. My mother took me and my brother to Los Angeles, and then I went to like UCLA, like we in Westwood, and I was just seeing this whole America, the California, and I was like, yo, this is where I wanna be. I don't want to study in Japan. I want to go study how to make a movie in the United States. So that's how I got into North Carolina School of the Arts in North Carolina. And when I was 18, and I started to learn filmmaking at the art school. You know,
Yeah. Well,
so
you
that's
you
how I
mentioned.
started.
Sure. And so you mentioned like kind of the culture of a Japanese man and how you're supposed to be. When you decided to study film, what was the reaction of your mother or your parents?
My mom was cool. My mom liked Hollywood movies. Like my mom, that's like the only entertainment we had growing up in a small town Kochi, which is like a southern part of Japan, like island town. So it was like only entertainment we had was going to see like American movies, big American movies on the weekend, get some dinner, so it was she supported me throughout my career. But my high school teachers, they are like, no way, no way, you not gonna you spend so much time, effort studying to go to Japanese college. And they were like, you can go to a good college, like why are you going to United States to make a movie? Are you crazy? So I had to convince one by one, like teachers one by one, like, yo, man, this is what I want to do. That's my dream. So that's how I like, with the support of my mom, and one by one I had my teacher backing me what I want to do. And that's how I eventually could go to North Carolina to study how to make a movie. And those they are some nice filmmakers. You know, the David Gordon Green,
Oh yeah,
he's
yeah.
a director of Halloween.
Halloween, yeah, it just came out with Halloween Ends.
Just came
Yeah.
out, and also I can't believe I forgot his name. The Kenny guy, the Kenny Power. I'm actually who is a guy in This Is the End. This is the End. He's like a comedy guy. He's
Oh, this is
uh,
the end. I mean, there's Seth Rogen, James
yeah,
Franco.
those guys,
Yeah.
Seth Rogen, Danny McBride.
Oh, Danny McBride. Yeah, yeah. He also did Halloween, the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
one. Yeah.
They all went to they were like 2 years or 1 year ahead of me. They went to North Carolina School of the Arts, and actually my first acting experience was to act in Danny McBride's student film.
Oh,
I had
okay.
one line. I say perfect attendance. I play some dorky like Asian character, which I had a good time. You know,
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah.
so that was
Well, I
my
mean,
first acting experience.
well, speaking of like first acting, like one of your first big credits was also on NBC's Heroes.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And that was huge back then too. I remember watching like the first two seasons, maybe.
yeah.
I think I started season three, and it changed so much by then. But
I
yeah,
was in
so
season 4. I think season 4, episode 2. I was a guest.
oh, season four. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I played Tadashi. He was a co-worker of Heroes, played by Mr. Mashioka. And I guess I photocopied my bat. Like I got drunk. My character got drunk, photocopied my bat. And the company found out about me and I got fired. And I tried to commit suicide. And he had to go back. Like every time I commit suicide, he had to go back to the past to save me. So that was a good role. It was a guest starring role, and I just came out from acting school. I was going to acting school called Beverly Hills Playhouse for 5 years. And when I graduated, I mean, when I left the school, that was the first acting gig. Not first, but one of the first acting gig. I booked, which was huge. I was like, I mean, I didn't, you know, I tell you, man, the very top, the very first acting gig I booked was the one called the Human Centipede, which is
One and
horror.
three, right? You were in the one and 3.
One, 3, but very first one. I booked it was the first paying role, because I wanted to prove myself. I was like, oh man. So that and Heroes. So those two, one, the Human Centipede and Heroes guest star role. I was like, oh my god, I must be genius, man. Like I just because people been saying like, yo, man, it's a hard time. You have to like, like earn your position, to book guest star role. I'm like, yo, man, I don't. This is my second job. I'm already guest star, man. So I'm like, I had a confidence that time. I was
Yeah.
like 29. I'm 43 now. So
You
yeah,
were
20 time.
you were doing pretty good for yourself. I mean, starting off, I mean, nobody knew the impact that Human Centipede would make, when it first came out. Not everybody has seen it because, for the obvious reasons, but
Yeah,
it has a following. People like that movie, or those films.
that movie changed my life because it's when we were shooting the film in Netherlands, I was like, yo, this movie is not gonna go anywhere. Like this is some underground shit we're doing, like
Yeah.
this cannot be true. Because I'm like, I'm becoming the Human Centipede with two other girls. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like this is some crazy stuff. And director is crazy. Director is Tom Six. He's watching the Human Centipede, us becoming the Human Centipede, and he's like, oh, this is my creation. Like he's such a cool guy. So, but when we were shooting it, I thought he was madman, like he was crazy. And we had this movie's probably not gonna get distribution, like. But I do it because it's so much fun, shooting a horror film for 1 month in Netherlands, Amsterdam. I had a great time. But then that movie just took off. Like I was like, wow, like that just like that film came out in Japan too. So all those my friends are like, you in the Human Centipede. So that was my first like 15 minutes of fame, like that was like wow, right? It's my Twitter blow up, like a lot of people wanted to interview me, like it was crazy, So, but I'm grateful. People is like, like people say, hey, why are you in this movie? Like, why did you do the movie? Because I was like, yo, man, I had no idea if this movie is gonna be that big.
Yeah. Yeah, well, congratulations on that. I mean, and I haven't seen any of those films because it's not
Yeah,
not my
yeah.
cup of tea.
It,
But I
it's
saw that even
it's
Eric
different.
Roberts is in the third movie.
Who?
Eric
Eric Roberts.
Roberts.
Yeah, Eric Roberts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it attracted some big names still, even in the sequels.
It's interesting. What's interesting is those horror movies fans are different from Cobra Kai audience.
Oh, sure.
So I thought I would get like a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is a guy from Human Centipede," but I didn't really get that. Like I was surprised. I was like, "Yo," so I guess it's kind of different, like a different kind of audience.
Yes. Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, which is kind of cool. Like
Yeah.
it's I had to I had to like I really had to work hard to because when once you do that kind of film, you get typecast.
Hmm.
People see you as like a she actor, like like a horror, like oh he does horror film like all the time, like he people typecast you, like people see you in certain way. So every time I audition, for non horror film or something major like Cobra Kai, like I had to like I kind of have to prove myself, like yo man I can act. I went to acting school for 5 years. And even the Human Centipede, if you have seen it, I'm bringing out the best acting right there. Like that's one of the best acting performance I have ever done. But because some people haven't seen it, people doesn't really know, like like that. I mean, to me and Dieter Razor, who played German doctor, wait man, if this wasn't horror movie like the Human Centipede, we would win Oscar. That kind of performance we did. That confident I was. But it's kind of when movies that crazy, you wouldn't be nominated for an Oscar.
Yeah.
It's crazy how it works. But as an actor, it doesn't matter what kind of film it is. We just have to do our good job, 120% over our skills, craft, talent. Just put into this whole work. You know,
Yeah.
so that's what
Well,
happened.
I think just based off of your energy, I will have to watch it just for your
You
performances.
should. You
Yeah,
should. The part
I
one
will.
is not no, it's not too crazy. Actually, you don't see anything. It's
Okay.
whole imagination. Like it's kind of left to people's imagination. Watch out for part two though. Human Centipede part two. I think you should stay away. That's a one crazy movie. It's the director is like took it to next level because like all of those horror fans they're like, oh, this is soft, and director is like, oh, you want this is soft? I give you hardcore. So
Okay.
part two, I was like, oh,
Um,
what are you guys
well,
doing?
we'll see. We'll see how I do with the first
Yeah,
ones.
but yeah,
Yeah.
if you watch part one, if you like it, watch part two and part three. Yeah, Eric Roberts is in. It's a fun horror film. It's not too bad. Like it's not as bad as people make it out to be.
Okay.
It's a fun. It's kind of comedy
Okay.
almost.
Right. Right. Now, I know that you have just been constantly working ever since you started booking some of those earlier roles. How did you get into like print work and modeling?
Oh yeah, you know what? That's as an actor, you have to make living. You have to make money. You know, and when was this? I started to get into print job and commercials for like companies, like big companies, like maybe 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
Was it
Uh,
Intel? Was Intel one of them, I
I did
think?
the Intel
Yeah.
commercial. I did some the e-cigarette commercial. Uh, um, I did all kinds, man. Like because that's actually one of the things I do. I it just it's all about being you have to shave and just looking nice. You just have to give the friendly energy. And also some of the commercials requires acting techniques. like a Intel commercial. I had to memorize a lot of monologue, so it gave me, it kind of gives me advantage as an actor, because I can do like whole monologue. I just did like 13 pages of monologue in this film called the Ghost of Hiroshima. 13 pages of monologue, man. But I can do it because I'm trained actor. So I use my technique as an actor into the commercial, or like product, like print job or commercial jobs. And I start booking it, it just, I start to build my career in that area too. And that's what makes the money the most, as an actor. It's a huge, it's how to support family, man.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
wanna
yeah.
do acting. I wanna do TV shows, films, all the time, But all those advertisement it's good. It's good for actor, It's
Yeah.
something that people as an actor we should definitely just keep aiming for. I'm still waiting to hear back. I'm available for this one commercial, which I hope I get it. So
Yeah.
it's one of the things we do as an
Yeah.
actor.
Oh, I'll cross my fingers for you.
Yeah.
Um, you just mentioned Ghost of Hiroshima, which you play a survivor, right, from the
Yes.
after the bombing.
Yeah.
Um, and that's available now.
That's available now. That just came out on Halloween Day. So yeah, you can watch it on Amazon. Ghost of Hiroshima.
There you go.
And that movie is crazy, man. The American guy goes to Japan and he gets haunted by the ghost that was created 77 years ago when the atomic bomb hits Hiroshima. So it's whole intense. And I played this um, Hiroshima survivor. He actually he this American guy, he gets a tape, like a VHS tape, and it's an interview. He find like the interview tape of me talking about my experience on BBC, and I'm start to talk. I'm very intense. The director, he did some great research, into the Hiroshima victims, and I was, as I start to tell the stories, it's so intense. It became the horror itself. Like that. That's almost like the scariest part of the movie is what people went through during that time. People being murdered. Like it's. I mean, it's crazy, man. Like if I when I was in high school, we went to the Hiroshima Peace Museum. It's so intense to the point where I'm like, what? This happened for real? Like American did this? Like it's so the movie captures that aspect, and put into the horror film. And it's a little shocking, but it's also informative. It's something that you can, the kids can learn like what happened. So it was important film as a Japanese actor to do it, because I didn't want to do it, man. First, it was 13 pages of monologue because it's just me talking, but interviews. I'm like, talking about my experience as a Hiroshima survivor, and I'm like 13 pages for this indie film, and I get paid this little money. Do I need to do this? I was telling my manager, but then I'm like, I should do this. It's not about money, it's about what kind of a story I want to tell as an actor, as a person. So I think I did a good job, man. I'm very proud of Ghost of Hiroshima and what I did in that
Yeah.
film.
When I read about that sounds like something that I would be interested in, just to be educated on what happens. So and is it horror or more like thriller? Would you
It's
say?
horror. It's like horror thriller. Like it's like a paranormal thriller.
Okay.
It's a paranormal activity kind of a thing, And it's a very low budget. Like when we're shooting, the the director was doing all, that was DP, and he was setting up all the lights. And one of the producer, who is Ashley Park, she's also the producer, and she's also one of the main actor. She was setting up. She was, so they only have two people on the set, three people, me and the producer actress Ashley Park, and Brandon. He's the director. And that was 2 months after I did Cobra Kai. So I was like, man, this is some indie film, man. Like, I did Cobra Kai and I'm doing this,
Yeah.
But it kind of doesn't matter, man. Like I told you, what do we do is the same, It even though it's a big, whether it's a big production, Hollywood production, or whether it's like a two people crew indie film, what do we do as an actor is the same. We just have to, if we don't give 120% of our talent into the film, it's just not gonna be good. So I learned it when I was just studying acting early on. So I gave 120% as much as I did. Not as I mean, in Cobra Kai I was like 1,000%. I had to like I mean I'm gonna get into it, but that was I did some crazy stuff, man, for Cobra Kai, man.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of work our way there.
Yeah.
Before we get to Cobra Kai, The Karate Kid Part 2, is that something that you watched when you were younger?
To be honest, I hadn't watched Karate Kid Part 2. I watched the Karate Kid Part 1. And Mr. Miyagi is very famous in Japan too. He's very iconic character, But it's not as like I think the Karate Kid. Oh yeah, man, Mr. Miyagi right here. He's a crazy Japanese guy, man. He's a crazy dude.
Tabarita, yeah.
Yeah, but Pat Morita, he's awesome. But to be honest, when I auditioned for Cobra Kai, I didn't even know. I mean, they don't tell you it's Cobra Kai. They because they don't want to give out any information. Even two actors, two industry people, so they use like fake name, right? And right. they didn't know my character wasn't Sato or young Sato. It was different name. It's the same dialogues that I had to do to audition. Right. It just says some different name and Netflix series, right? And I did that. I sent in my tape, and 4 or 5 days later, my manager, told me it's you booked a really good character in Cobra Kai. I'm like, Cobra Kai? Did I audition for Cobra Kai? That was Cobra Kai? But I gotta be honest, man. To be honest, I hadn't watched Cobra Kai when I find out that it was Cobra Kai, right? So I did not really expect the show to be that big. And I only had 1 week. I find out I booked Cobra Kai, the young Sato, and 5 days later, or 4 or 5 days later, they fly me to Atlanta, right? Right. So I only had maybe 6 days to prepare for the role. So I was like, oh, I need to check out Cobra Kai. What kind of show am I in? Because usually I research when I audition, but because I just find out that I booked the role, I just had to really watch the series quick. So to be honest, man, I only watched 3-4 episodes of Cobra Kai season first, and then I was like, wait a minute, I got the Cobra Kai. I kind of, watching 3-4 episodes, I kind of knew what kind of a series it was. And I was like, I'm going to stop watching Cobra Kai. I had to focus on Karate Kid Part 2 because the Sato is obviously, he's a main villain in Karate Kid Part 2. I had to put my acting research into the Karate Kid Part 2 more than Cobra Kai, because I had to bring back the life of Sato, played beautifully by Danny Kamikona, So I was like, I'm gonna stop watching Cobra Kai. I'm just gonna keep watching, the Karate Kid Part 2. And what's crazy, man? The Netflix, it was my first time where when I shoot something, some film, some work, some TV show outside of California, it was the first time that I got a limousine service. Picked me up from my place, going to LAX, put me on the first class to Atlanta, right? And then from Atlanta airport, limousine service again, huge car. They had me stay at expensive as hotel, like top air, like huge, bigger than my place. I'm like, what? What's going on? Man, they got so much money. Is it Cobra Kai? Maybe it's Cobra Kai, but I don't know. Is that Netflix had money? Cobra Kai had money? I don't know. But I was like, wow, they are spending so much money for me to do this one thing, right? So that put me like, it kind of became my pressure, man. Like I'm like, I better do some good job. Otherwise, they're not gonna, I'm dead man.
Right.
If I did do some half-ass job, you know, they're spending so much money to do this. I'm like, yo, man, I had to do the best of the best of the best job. So, man, I was just, even though I had like 2 days before I shot the scene in Atlanta, I spent like 24/7 watching Karate Kid Part 2, and just really, when you do the work like that, like young Sato, somebody, because there was also there's already Sato in Karate Kid Part 2, and I did not want to do I did not want to impersonate what Danny did. I really want to get the essence of the character, you know. And the voice, I think the one of the reason I got the role is because I could do the voice, the deep, heavy, Sato again voice, and also because I'm younger than Danny, I guess it's more useful, more energy, more like. So I could do the voice of young Sato, and that's how I got the job, I think. But for me, it was important for me to dig. Like, what's this guy's, young Sato, like, why people really likes this guy? Why he has such a powerful presence, And when I was watching Danny, I realized, now I'm like spending watching Karate Kid. I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna watch Cobra Kai. I'm gonna watch Karate Kid Part 2 again and again and again. And what's very important, which I'm glad I found, is the way Sato was looking at Chosen. In the storm, Karate Kid Part 2, there's a scene in the storm at night. And when the Sato disowned Chosen, he get disappointed because the Chosen didn't help.
Right.
And he's like, now, like, to you, now to me, now to you, now I'm dead.
Wow.
He had such an emotion. When he said, now to you, I'm dead. That is such a cool line, by the way. And when he says that, when he disowned Chosen, that moment, the Danny's face, the Sato's face, that face just told everything. He was disappointed. He's angry. He's just sad. On top of that, he get betrayed by Miyagi. Just all built up. He has such a high hope for Chosen, but he got disappointed. That face was so good, and I was like, you know what? We are doing the scene that's building up to that scene. That the young Sato and young Chosen scene is built. It's just one of those the scene in the past. That's building up to the storm scene where he says, now to you, I'm dead. Right. So it was important for me to get the look, not like how I, just really get into the emotion, and how Sato had high hope, for Chosen, the emotional connection. I wanted the audience to feel it, And now it's not that intense. That when Sato got disowned Chosen, that was the highest intensity right there. That's like, yo, man, I'm dead to you, man,
Yeah.
So, but it's a build up to it. So I had to connect the past, which was our scene, young Chosen, young Sato and young Chosen, played by Shigi. Shigi played the young Chosen. So that was a build. I had to see the build up to that. The exact scene. So when I find that the connection, it was easy for me. It was easy because when it's, as an actor, you have to really dig deep. When you really find out what's happening in the scene, everything else becomes easy. Right. You start to become how I look, how young Sato look at the young Chosen, it's get connected to the Sato I was watching in Karate Kid Part 2. So a lot of people say, hey, the people say, hey man, I look exactly like Sato. I talk like like in Sato, but because I don't know. Some people say I look like Sato, but I don't think so. To me, and it's compliment. And the reason why I could bring the life of Sato to the Cobra Kai is because I find the connection. Because the way I was looking at the Chosen, that was the most important thing, for me. And of course it's Cobra Kai. It's more, it has a comedy, it has a humor throughout the series, right? That's something that I love about Cobra Kai. Even though it's very intense, it's funny, in a way. It has a humor. And then Sato is kind of funny too. I was watching Cobra Kai,
Sure.
as a Karate Kid part. He's funny guy, even though he's very intense. The intensity is brings out some fun, the humor to the screen. So I made sure when Chosen was messing around with the making the
Hello. Uh-huh.
he was like cheating. I was in Japanese comedian world. We have this Japanese technique of how to do Japanese comedy. Usually, there's in tradition the stand-up comedy. There's two main stand-up comedy in Japan, which one guy is a straight guy, right? And one guy is a funny guy. He does some funny stuff, and straight guy straight him out, and then that creates a comedy. So Chosen is the funny one. He does some funny shit with he cheated, and then I'm like, hey, what are you doing? I want to I use the technique of the comedian from Kansai, because a lot of comedians from is Kansai area, because they just grew up with a humor, there's a lot of good comedians come from Kansai, like Osaka. So I said one line, I want to capture the essence of the Kansai comedian. Like, you do funny shit, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? So when Chosen was like, hey, Oji-san, my uncle, I'm like, oh, like all intense. But my deliverance, I wanted to make it like a quick, very powerful. So it creates some kind of it creates comedy, It's even I'm like screaming at kids. It's kind of funny in a way, because he does some funny shit, and I straight him out. Just it's the intensity and the timing of delivering lines was very important to me. So I use so it was I use the imagination of the Japanese comedian into my lines and intensity. I'm very intense actor, man. Like, I do some intense stuff, throughout my career. So intensity I had no problem. So just capturing the ways that Sato is looking at Chosen, getting the humor, the best humor into the scene, and also because Sato, Danny, he's a bigger guy. He's because he's older too. He's shorter than me. But when you watch Karate Kid Part 2, he looks big. He looks intense. His presence is so big.
Yeah.
So I had to. I made sure I eat a lot of meat. When I find out I'm gonna play Sato, I was eating like Korean barbecue all the time, man. Like in Atlanta, and I want to get my face big, because he had a kind of big face, like I just wanted the Sato presence to be like,
Yeah.
I did not sleep, man. Like, I did not sleep the night before the shooting, because I wanted to bring the intensity, like intense to like 1,000 times intensity. So I did not sleep like at all. I was staying up all night, going crazy, man. Just doing some crazy shit, like pushing up, like doing some karate stuff. I just pumping me up, man. It's like almost Japanese soldier before I go to the war, you know.
Yeah,
And
I
I
like that.
knew if I do not sleep before I do any acting, you know, my face become big, you know, it get puffy, you know. So
Yeah.
I want to capture that, you know. So I want to capture the outside too, the outside look of Sato, you know. So that to me, it's, you know, and when I did the first take, the whole air changed, right? Like I get huge respect. I know I got respect. Like, I earned respect from the crew of Cobra Kai, like the director, you know, and the producers. It's just the way they were watching me was kind of different after I did the part, you know, take one. Like I'm like, I felt respect from people immediately. So I'm like, oh man, it was such a rewarding, and I'm at the same time like as an actor, I'm like, yo man, this is what I wanna do, man. This is good. I'm doing some good stuff, you know. So the I think after I did take one, take two, I think I was so confident, right? I was like, yo man, this I'm doing some genius stuff. Like I could do, like, you know, I earned their respect. And now I'm like, you know, I'm doing some genius stuff. And then I told, you know, when we are taking break from takes, I think it was Josh. I was talking to him. I was so confident. I told him, hey, how about spin-off? And immediately after when I said it, how about spin-off? I immediately regret it because I'm like, oh, did I come out too strong? Like too like, you know, like actor being like, all right, you know, like too confident. But I was that confident, man. I'm like, yo, how about spin-off, man? Like, hey, how about this? Because I knew what we created, and it just not only me. It's whole, you know, the director and the you know everybody crew, you know, and Shigi Ozu who played young chosen. We just created this thing, like we just felt so good about it, you know. We knew we were creating some treasure. I mean, at least I was feeling it. I was feeling super confident, right? So I was just, hey man, how about spin-off? And you know, I know you want to hear the reaction of Josh. I
Yes.
think it was Josh,
Yes.
man. Sorry if it wasn't Josh. Sorry if it was Hayden. Josh, sorry, man. But I think it was Josh. I know people want to hear the reaction. I do not. I forget what kind of a reaction. Again, you know, it was positive reaction, but I forget what exactly what he said. But you know, to do spin-off, to make you know, to get you know, having the like series take off, it's not. I don't think it's not as easy as we think it is. You know, it's not just like they cannot just decide, hey, they're gonna do spin-off, right? It's a business. A lot of people has to be involved in. So of course he couldn't say, hey, let's do it. You know, you know, it's like, hey, you know. So he was, you know, I forget what he said, but let's just say, I hope, you know, I don't know about spin-off. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I hope something good is gonna happen. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I cannot
I
really.
No, 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 it's fine. Because I think we obviously want more. You know,
Yeah,
when I remember watching that scene, and I was like, I hope this isn't the last time we see these characters again.
yeah, yeah.
You know, because we haven't seen Sato since the Karate Kid 2, so I would welcome more sequences. You know, maybe a few more episodes, kind of like in season 3 when they gave us more Terry Silver, more Kreese. You know, when they were younger in flashbacks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely love to see that, especially if maybe in season 6, if they go to the Sekai Takai, you know, maybe it takes place in
Mhm.
Okinawa. Maybe we can get some like young Sato and maybe even Miyagi before he leaves Okinawa. I don't know. You know,
I don't know,
there's
man. Anything
so
I
many
can do because
possibilities, right?
yeah, because that to me, Young Sato is one of the most exciting characters I've ever played. So I didn't want to end it there. You know, I
Right.
want to I want to play more. You know, and I think they knew. Like I was like, because I was telling, I want to come back, man. Like I want to do some shit. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, like
I
yeah, like I cannot end
because
it there. Like you know.
It'd be funny if like the way they flew you to the airport and picked you up from the airport and the hotel that you stayed in. Maybe it's because you're Sato. Sato comes from money, right? He has money,
Yeah,
so you have to
yeah,
be
yeah,
you have to be treated as such, you know?
yeah. I mean, hey man, I thank all the Netflix people, Cobra Kai people. Man, I was treated like highest. Like I was treated like a top A celebrity, which to me, I'm like, as an actor who does, who does indie films. I work in Japan. Man, when I do films in Japan, I have to pay for my airplane ticket to Japan, man. I cannot, you know, I can I haven't been treated like, like Cobra Kai treated me, man. Like, it's like I have to drive my car, man, to the set all the time. So I felt from beginning to the end, even now, the respect they have to treat actors, it's incredible. So I'm grateful, and I wanna go back. Let me come back to Atlanta, man. I do my job, man. I do 100,000 times better. I wanna do it.
Yeah.
I wanna do young Sato, because Sato is crazy character. He's like he got money, man, and we're just watching. He's like oh, like sensei version. I want to see like what he does, man, when he's not teaching, man. Maybe he's fucking around. Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
Maybe he's drinking, man. He's doing some shit, like
Sure. Yeah.
he's good with ladies. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's crazy.
Oh, I bet. I mean, he's got to have some stories, right?
Yeah,
I'm
he
sure he
has
does.
some stories. Yeah, he's
Um, well, when you were down there, did you get to meet like Ralph or Yuji Okamoto?
oh yeah, yeah. When okay, I'll be very honest, man. When I because I just watched only 3 or 4 episodes of Cobra Kai, right? When I get to Atlanta, because I was watching Karate Kid Part Two, you know, I didn't really know what actors are in the series,
Hmm.
So when I did I think it was second day in Atlanta, I had to do the fitting, right? And from hotel to the location, to the set, to the studio, I was this young actor who played Dimitri
Oh,
Gianni.
yeah, Gianni. Yeah.
So Gianni was there with me. I introduced myself to Gianni, and he was such a nice guy, man. He's such a down to earth, like really cool guy. He was interested in me, on the way to the set. So we're talking, right?
Uh,
But at that point, I did not know how big of his character he was playing.
uh,
Dimitri is such a huge one of the main stars of Cobra Kai, right? But when you watch the only when you have just only seen the 3 episodes, of the season one, I thought, I was like, oh, good job, like I thought he was playing a small part. Like I didn't know he that character was developed into something big like that.
right, right.
So I'm like, yo, man, good for you, man. Like, you still around, like, good for you, man. Like, oh, man, you still like, I mean, I did not know the Dimitri character around karate. He's in the beginning, he's still like a doki, like a kind of nerd character. So I was like, yeah, man, good for you. So I didn't really expect the Dimitri to be that big. So I didn't take a photo, man. Like I didn't even I was like, hey, I was just so, he's just one of the actors, that doing like, lucky enough to be Cobra Kai, like,
Right.
so I was, if I see Gianni now, I'm gonna be taking photo, taking selfies, and same with Hawk,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, Jacob, his name Jacob,
Jacob.
right?
Yep. Yes.
I saw Hawk, Jacob, on the set. He's walking around. He's all nice. He's such a charismatic guy. He's very nice too. He's like a Gianni. He's like a very nice young kid. But at the same time, he's very charismatic. I knew he a lot of people respect him. A lot of crew. Like so when he was walking around, I'm like, yo, man, it's the same way. I'm like, oh, you're still around. Oh, this doggy character, he's still
Because you
like,
didn't you didn't see the Mohawk yet, right?
I
You
didn't
only
see the
watched three
mohawk. I
episodes,
didn't.
right?
He had his own hair, so I'm like, yo, good
Right.
for you. If I because I didn't. I did not know he was the body champion because
champion.
because he was already champion when we were shooting the season 5. I didn't know that, man. I didn't know I was talking to the champion, man. I thought I was talking to some actor who plays one of the small characters. I just did not expect them to be that big. So I did not take photos, man. I did not take selfies or anything. And then on the set when we were doing the scene, Mr. Ralph Macho, he was there. He was in front of a monitor. He was watching our scene. And during the break, I saw Ralph and I was like, oh, and I introduced myself, but I'm kind of actor who stays in the character, right? I'm not like hardcore like method actor, but I'm still young Sato. I'm still Sato in the scene. Like I cannot really be like, oh, this is Akihiro. I was Sato. So even I was very nice. I was like, hey, thank you so much for having me on the show, because I knew he's the one with the producer too, and he's the main guy, and he's kind enough, he's cool enough to make himself available, to be on the set when you're shooting, and at that time, I'm sure if I asked, I could take photos and I could talk more. But I kind of acted cool, man. I kind of acted like Sato, like you were like Miyagi's
rival,
kid,
old friend.
Like, so I didn't know. I was nice to him, but I wasn't too nice. I wasn't being super nice. So I wasn't like, now I'm gonna be like, oh,
sure.
Oh, I'm gonna say,
Right.
please take photo, like, oh. So I did not do any of this. I'm like, yeah, thank you so much.
You should be like, oh, the coward has grown up.
Yes, I was still Sato kind of, I was. So that's one of the regret I had, being on the set of season 5. I did not take any photos, and I did not get to see Yuji. I have huge respect as a Japanese actor. I wanna meet him the most, actually, and I wanna listen to him, And I did not get to meet him. He wasn't around for some reason. So yeah, man. Dimitri, Hawk, and Mr. Larusso, man. Now I'm gonna take photos, man. I wanna talk to them, like, but I had to do my job, man. That's was my first priority, So maybe in the future, if I see Mr. Ralph Macho, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
And after I did the Cobra Kai, after I did my scene, I went back to LA and I watched the whole Cobra Kai series, and I became a huge fan. Now now Instagram, Twitter, I follow everybody.
Yeah.
So that's how I became huge fan. But just unfortunately, because I had to focus on Karate Kid Part 2, Karate Kid Part 2, I didn't watch it, So now I'm a huge fan. Now I want to talk to them, like I want to take photos, but it just didn't happen. I just had to focus on being young Sato. So, in the future, hopefully.
Right. Yeah. No, hopefully. And one of your favorite characters is Kyler.
Kyler is awesome, bro. Like I was doing research on Twitter. I was watching Kyler. His character is kind of, people sometimes doesn't like his character because he's asshole, right?
Yeah.
Some people, but for me, Kyler Park is my favorite, the most favorite character in Cobra Kai, because I could relate to him in somehow. As a young Asian kid, in the United States, going to college, I don't know, man. Like, to me, like, he's just living he's just funny, man. He's just doing his thing, and he's good with ladies, which is nice,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not. I mean, even if let's say I'm not like a violent asshole like Kyra, but when I was young, I was good with ladies. I was like, hey, hey, what up, hey, what up? Hey, no problem, So to me, I kind of relate to that aspect of Kyra. He's just nice. He's nice. He's cool to be around, I think.
Yeah.
Who are main characters, who are Miguel or Hulk, he's bunch of asshole, and people get kicked out of him getting his ass getting kicked. But I'm like, yo, man, Kylo is just like living, he's just doing his thing, man. Like, he just love ladies, man. He doesn't eat sushi, which is like, yo, what's wrong with him? You Asian, you don't eat sushi, what's wrong, What's up with
Oh,
you?
my question. Yeah.
Yeah, like what's up
Like,
with you?
and
But
he wanted fish
other
sticks.
than that, yeah, other than that, I think Kara is funny. He does his thing. He does his thing with ladies. I totally hang out with Kyra, man. I go to his parties, man. Like get drink some beer,
Sure.
you know. So I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't know if you can relate. You grew up in the United States, right?
Yes.
Have you, man? When I came to this country, only Asian characters in the film or TV shows was such a dorky characters, man. Like I saw when I was 18, I saw Fargo.
Which one?
Fargo, the
Fargo?
Coen Brothers movie. And there was
Okay.
this Japanese, Asian American Japanese character,
It's been
Fargo.
so long ago.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't. Yeah.
He's just some dorky character, right? And in Fight Club, the Bobby Lee played some. I don't know. Every character I saw was dork, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even Jet Li, I was hoping, Jet Li's gonna get with Rihanna, not Rihanna, Aria at the end. They didn't kiss. Like I'm like, what's wrong with you, man? Like to me, I was disappointed every time I watched. Now it's different. Now it's you see Asian characters getting laid, like it's like Walking Dead.
Well,
The
Stephen Yun,
Steven Yeun,
Glenn,
yeah,
Glenn, yeah.
yeah. He get with some nice lady. He's the only character getting laid in Walking Dead.
Well,
So I mean,
yeah, the John and Hayden, they created Harold and Kumar.
oh,
I don't know if you watched Harold and
Kuma,
Kumar.
yeah, yeah, Kuma,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. They wrote that. Hayden and John did.
Who wrote what?
They wrote Harold and Kumar. That
Yeah,
would
yeah,
go to
yeah,
White
yeah.
Castle. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah,
wrote the
yeah,
movies. Yeah. So because they grew up with a lot of like Asian and East Asia. They had friends that were Asian, and so that's why the leads were Asian, and they
oh,
painted them in a
yeah,
different light
yeah,
than Asians were in the 80s, right? Where, like you said, we were all dorks back in
yeah.
the
Dogs,
80s and
bunch of
90s.
dogs,
Yeah,
bro, man.
yeah.
Like what?
I I don't look like it, but I have a son that's 22 years old. I told
Mm.
him that he grew up in the right time, because now we're trending. Back
Yeah,
then
you
we
was right.
weren't, right?
BTS, man. But the thing is, now Asian guys are hot BTS, all those, you get attention, right? But it's been there. We are, we sexy, man. Like, it just the movie, how the movie treated us, it sucks big time.
Yeah.
So when I see like a character like Kyra, even though he's asshole, he get chicks, man. He does his thing. He wasn't that dog, So for me, it's important for me. So I wrote and directed this feature film called I'll Be There With You. When I was young, when I was like 26, 27, we have a Daniel Baldwin.
Right.
Man, my
Yes.
character is having sex all the time, man. you know I had to a lot of actresses from my acting school I used, and because I read the scene, right? I read the scene. I'm like, hey man, I go to the most beautiful girls in the acting school. Hey, I want you to be in my movie. And they read the script. They're like, wait a minute. There's a lot of sex scenes, man. Of me and you. What's going on? I'm like, man, it's for Asian representation right there. That's how I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, the Harold and Kumar and everything. To me, and it's to me, it's not just me being in the United States, being in Japan, coming from Japan. In Japan, I'm the majority. I was a minority,
Right.
and then going to the United States where I became minority and watching all those like casual racism,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
casual, but it still sucks. Like
Right. It's still racism. Yeah.
it's
Casual
still
or not.
racist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like to me, like it's in the back days when the Asians are dogs in the film, that's to me racism. Like that's just like because you are putting you are basing one character or person from the race. Because
Right.
as an Asian, it doesn't matter black, white, Latino, Asian. Man, there's a dogs and there's a cool guys who get raped. It's just all we have a different kind of people. But for some reason, people likes to put stereotype people from
Right.
race, which is
Right.
like, which to me is ridiculous, man. Like that's just ridiculous thing to see,
Right.
So
Absolutely.
I want to, that's one of the things I want to change. I see, man. I have my best friend is a African American guy. That's what I learned from him. He doesn't fit the stereotype of being black dude. He's so not only him, just meeting in everyday's life. I meet people and who does not fit what the Hollywood creates. The stereotype. A lot
Right.
of people is different. It's just we are the human beings is different. Everybody's different. So I appreciate creating character like Kyra. I want to see Kyra getting like I want to see him getting Tori or like even Mrs. Larusso or like somebody. I want Kyra to step up more. Like I want him to step up, man. Because if I was and also if you say bring back Sato man to the again, man, I want to do some shit, man. So I want to show something different side. So yeah, so that's why I like Kyra. He's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any favorite episodes that really stick out to you?
I think the emotionally the scene where the Miguel was taking care of
Johnny
Johnny, and Johnny
is
said
drunk, right?
yes, he's drunk, and he said he was like mumbling, and he was showing his love to his real son.
Yeah.
And when Miguel was crying, that was to me like, oh man, my god,
Yeah.
that was top where like I mean I don't know, man, that definitely emotionally I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
you know like it's the Cobra Kai, throughout the scene it's funny and it's comedy, but one of those scenes it's emotion is real.
Yeah.
And and the guy who played Miguel, he's such a great actor, man. He's every time he's like showing his emotions, it speaks to me, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
He's my favorite character.
yeah, he's cool. He's very cool character. And I see living in Los Angeles, I see a lot of like the guy, the Latino kids, who is grew up, like in Los Angeles,
Mm.
like I get as me being Japanese, I get huge respect. Like I wear Japanese like anime T-shirts. I always get respect from Latino kids. So
Yeah.
I won't. I don't know. I feel like, oh man, like there should be a lot of Latino characters like that. Being the main guy. So that to me speak to me, and everything. The story is pretty cool too. I like how her character is, she's learning how she, as she goes her life.
Mm.
So that character, everything with story is pretty cool. She's pretty hot. So that's and Mrs. Larusso, everything with Mrs. Larusso, I like she's
She's
hot.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Sure.
funny hot.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That too. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, so much
Akira,
to
yeah. Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all your stories. I think one more project that we didn't get to discuss yet that I think is coming out soon, The Last Ride.
Oh yeah, last ride. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I saw a couple of the trailers
Yes.
online. Yeah. Can
You
you
know, it's a short film actually. That we just shot this year, and I think it's in post production. I play the main guy. I play the lead of the film. I play lift driver. And I don't think I can say what happens in the movie because it's still like, but it's a good, it's a nice film. I have a good connection with a Spanish actress in the film. It's a little romantic, romantic horror kind of a thing.
Okay.
So yeah, Last Ride is gonna be very good. I speak in my character speaks in English, and yeah, it's I don't think I can talk that much about it, but I definitely want you to check it out. Yeah, it's one. He's the Nile. He's a director. He's a Latino director, but he also sees the same way as Asians. He wants to show different side of Asians, into the film. So we are developing this film with him. This one is a feature film. After we did this short, where I get paid a lot. I am a playboy, So that I forgot the name of the I forgot the exact when Man Loves Women. I think that's the title of the movie. So that we are developing the film with him. That you see some Asian action like them, Asian man action,
Okay.
ladies gentlemen, There's
Looking
some
forward
nice
to it.
right there.
All right. I'll make sure to keep an eye out when you share when all that comes out.
Yeah. So I share what I do, man, on Twitter, man, Instagram, Twitter. So just if I'm so grateful the Cobra Kai fans welcoming me with such a love and support and everything, And I just want to do a good job as an actor, and if I can be part of the Cobra Kai again, I make sure I bring it,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm grateful, man.
Yeah. We hope to see you come back. If you welcome the interaction, do you want to throw out your Twitter and Instagram for people to follow you?
Yeah, follow me on Instagram. I just follow people I only like saw in my real life, because it's just so much. But on Twitter, I follow back everybody, bro. Like now I do. Before I used to be like, oh, I don't follow people, man. But now I follow everybody. So if you can follow me on Twitter, I follow you back. No problem.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm huge now. I'm huge fan of Cobra Kai, man. I want to discuss more about Cobra Kai. Unfortunately, my dog passed away like 2 weeks ago, and I'm having a little break from SNS just because it's still I'm very sad. I don't tweet as much now, but I follow you back.
Yeah.
And
Is that
I wanna,
is that Disco Cherry that
yeah,
just
Disco
passed
Cherry.
away? Yeah. Yeah.
15 years, man. 15 years and 6 months. I was with the dog. This Chihuahua I mean, in the interview, I say I was good with ladies, right? No, man, I wasn't good with ladies. Disco Cherry was good with ladies. This guy brought so many ladies, man. Disco
Yeah.
Cherry. So, but no, but just joking aside, that she was my daughter. I don't have a kid like you. She was my daughter for 15 years. So I'm empty right now. I decided to do this interview because I want to get over the sadness that I'm feeling.
Oh,
I wanna.
sorry. I'm
No,
sorry I
but
brought her up.
no, but it's a part of life. I grew up as a person from it, but it's great, right? It's great to have a connection, soul to soul connection with even animal, and we had that connection. And I hope now she's in heaven watching over us, but it's I'm gonna trying to be kinder person. I'm gonna trying to be nicer person because of the sadness I'm feeling now. I'm gonna have much more sympathy,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna try to be a better person and also better actor. That's
Yeah.
yeah, man. So
I
that's
I
what's right
I
now
I
in my
think we all can just be better people in general, just because life is too short. If we learn anything from losing loved ones, life is too short. You just never know if
yeah.
we're not guaranteed a tomorrow, right? I believe is
No
the
guarantee we can
expression,
die tomorrow, man. We can anything can happen.
right?
So we have to live our life to the fullest
That's right.
and be nice to people. around you, yeah, or even yeah, be nice to strangers, man. That's what I try to be. I'm just trying to be nice to everybody who I meet. So yeah, you have to.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Well, we'll end it right there. And for anyone that has not yet followed me on social media, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Cobra Kai Pod, and on Instagram at Cobra Kai Companion. So I want to thank you guys for your continued support as always, and we will see you next time.
Hey, thank you so much, man. Thank you.